Can you outline what our bet was for Capcom Cup? Because we have to resolve our pizza
Um,
bet.
I suppose I know now. Honestly, I didn't know the rules. I thought it was like whoever gets the most players in top 16, and then thought it was like some kind of summation of who got the most closest to the amount of characters. If I got like three characters in top eight, but you got five in bottom 16, then I didn't. But it was who chose the player who went the furthest. If I'm not mistaken, that was the winning goal, right?
Yep.
Did you fold it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a folded piece?
I'm from the East Coast.
It looks like it got some garlic on it too.
It is a Neapolitan pizza from across the
Ooh.
street, a place called the Sanos, and it's a
Oh.
margarita pizza with pepperoni on it.
Let me get some secondhand something, man. Man, stop, man. Stop, man.
Yeah, the other slice fell off because it's a Neapolitan pizza. The dough is a lot of very like there's a lot of water in the dough, so it's very delicate.
Why you gotta do that, man?
But anyway, who won?
We got Chris Wong.
He got second. But who picked Chris Wong?
The guy with the pizza. Not the guy without the pizza.
Whose name is?
um you.
Anyway, anyway, we have resolved the pizza bet, as you can see.
Well, congratulations to you and Chris Wong, but more so Uma.
Now, there's a couple of things we need to talk about before we get to
Right?
Uma and Capcom Cup, or and the finals, and that is the lead up to the finals. Let's take a look at what the groups were. So we made this bet before the groups were announced, so this was going to be a clusterfuck anyway, right? One of us was going to get lucky, or one of us is going to pick things better than the other.
You're not even gonna savor it like half a slice in one bite.
I know it was more than a half a slice. I feel like all of the bitching beforehand about the drawing and all that was completely undeserved after all the crazy things we saw in the group stage. I enjoyed watching it quite a bit. Look, I had a blast. I had a blast watching. Even though my initial experience was tuning in and watching three JP mirrors in a row.
Oh boy, yeah. That was something else.
Yeah. So I didn't watch, but I watched a couple of the highlights of each group, and boy, it was cool to watch. It was very cool to watch. So shout outs to Capcom, man. I had a fun time watching. I did not think I was gonna have fun watching Capcom. I'll be honest. I felt like I was not very invested, except for a certain bet. Um, but I'm really happy with the group stage, man. I had a good time. What did you think?
I think the LCQ was the most entertaining part of the whole tournament. It was like for me, it was the LCQ, then the top eight, and then the stuff in between was all right.
The whole like making it an 8-day affair needs to stop. That I'm not a big fan of. Just because it feels like there's almost no momentum until we get to like the last day, right? In the sense that like we had the top 16 and then we took a day off and then it was SFL. I don't think I watched a single thing of SFL in like the past 3 years. And I think the top 16 started like 3 hours late. But once we got to the top 16, lots of great matches. It was so unbelievably cool, man. Watching Uma do his thing with Juri, even though I hate Juri as a character in Street Fighter 6, I hate fighting against her. Watching Uma do his thing with her was so freaking cool, man. Especially like with all of the things that we know about Luke and all of the
Yeah,
crazy things that Luke has to offer in in the previous patch.
it was kind of interesting to me because it's two people that you're not particularly familiar with as an American audience. Like especially Uma. Maybe you've heard of Chris Wong because of recent offline wins, but Uma's maybe if you watched ICFC Asia, I believe him and Chris Wong are oftentimes like in the top three or like playing in those tournaments. So you're familiar with Uma, but I don't think anybody know who Uma was just in general. So it was a big surprise that not only just somebody unknown is up there in grand finals, but somebody with Cherry.
But a lot of people, instead of talking about Uma and his win, they started arguing about Texas and somebody else, like other people. Other people were arguing about Chris Wong getting interviewed when he was like sad after losing. I'm somebody who likes seeing emotion, so I don't see it as a big deal. Is it difficult to be interviewed after a loss like that? 100%. Is it wrong to be interviewed after a loss like that? I don't think so. Like you want to get a feel for what the other guy is feeling, right? Because it's not just about Uma, right? Uma won. However, he had to go through all of these people to get there, and especially Chris Wong, because they had 3 full sets in the entire with this entire bracket, because they played in winners finals and then they played again in grand finals and then the reset. Yep.
If they let the both players know, like after the match, we're going to interview the loser first. Maybe then it kind of softens the blow a little bit because you can expect it. But if it's just a sudden microphone in your face, yeah, it kind of course
very
it sucks.
very true. I can agree with that. I think a lot of people who had opinions on Twitter had like opinions based on assumptions. Because if you've ever seen UFC, right, like they interview both the winner and the loser. A lot of people were saying, oh, they only interviewed the winner, blah blah blah. And if you've ever seen like other big sports, like players go to the press briefing area like immediately after the game, right? And I specifically remember I was covering a wrestling thing. One of the people fighting, he got hurt during a match. Because there were cameras on him, I got to see that the match ended. He limped off of the mat. He laid down. A doctor looked at his ankle, and then he started going to answer media questions. Right? He immediately went to like the media. So I think this is something that the FGC is not used to and should get used to, because you want people to connect with what's happening on the screen, right? We can talk about what's happening in the game until we're all blue in the face. I don't think that's going to do much for our scene. But if we get people to connect with the emotions and like how people are feeling and what they're dealing with, what they're thinking, et cetera, I feel like that's what's going to really give us a deeper connection and to make everybody else feel very included. I feel like all these arguments are just shattering over the fact that Uma just made like the most ridiculous run in the finals and then wins $1 million. Oh, they announced Capcom Cup 2024. To my absolute shock and surprise, first place winner gets another $1 million next year.